Today I am going to be sharing everything that went well or didn't go well for homeschooling for the month of August. Welcome to this House of Walls. My name is Ashley, and on this channel I love to share all things books and homeschooling. Today is homeschooling. So before I get started, I will probably take these off because there is a glare. You can see the window and door in front of me, but I have new glasses to hopefully help some issues that I'm having, but yeah, I'm gonna have to take them off. All right, I've also turned my ring light on to just help with some of the brightness. It's kind of partly cloudy today, so it's nice and sunny and then gets dark. As always, I do have a little drink here. It's a latte, so I'm gonna be chugging that along the way. So I love doing these kind of end of month wrap-ups with homeschooling. I obviously share, curriculum and what we're using, how I'm intending for us to use it, and I love being able to also share how it's going throughout the year before an end of year kind of wrap up. August was our second month of homeschooling. We started kind of right after the 4th of July, and August was okay. There were some things, especially towards the end of the month, that I thought, I don't know if this is working, especially for one of my kids. You'll see as we get to the curriculum I don't know what will work. All right, so before we get started, I think my goal is that I'm gonna flip-flop every month. So I think last month I kind of talked about my 4th grader first, but today I'm gonna talk about my 8th grader first. And I'm gonna really kind of get into basically every subject that we're doing and how it's going. Some of it might not be super in-depth and some of it might be. Yeah, see, now it just got super dark. Oh well, because I know if I open the blinds more, then we'll get really sunny. All right, so let's talk Build Your Library first. So he is 8th grade. He is doing level 7. That's just what he chose to do this year, and it's going great. I think that he's liking the geography. He is liking the science. So I think that this one is going really, really well. He does most of the stuff on his own. He does have to come and check in with me and kind of tell me, now it's super bright. He does have to tell me what he read and have an understanding of it just so that I know he understood it. But big part of Build Your Library is books. So let's start with what he finished in the month of August. So first was Brown Girl Dreaming by Jacqueline Woodson. I think that he really liked it. I think it was educational for him. You're following an African-American girl growing up in the 60s and 70s, and I think that he really liked it. Let me look up what he rated it. I've been asking my kids this year what they rate books, and it's kind of interesting and gives me kind of an insight to what they liked. So I actually have a whole book list here. All right, so he actually ended up rating it 4 stars, which I think that's pretty high praise from him, so I will take it. The next, he actually DNF'd. So if you hear kids screaming, my kids are playing out back and nothing I can do about that. This spring, early summer, when we knew that we were going to be using level 7 of Build Your Library, I downloaded the sample first, and I really used that to help get books. Like if I was out at used bookstores, I could figure out what I still needed, and I just could tally everything off, everything. On the sample, it listed this book, Tree Girl by Ben Michelson. And then I bought the PDF, and it is actually a different book on the curriculum. But I thought, you know what, we already have this. I've already bought it. Let's just go ahead and use it. I did not pre-read it. My son came to me many times and he's like, wow, this book is something else. It is brutal. And I said, okay, yes, like it is. I've read the back. It is a graphic story. It's a pretty tough story. Is it too much for you though? And he said, no, it isn't. He did get to the last 3 tabs and he came to me and said, nope, it's too much now. So we have DNF'd this. Maybe this was in older levels, and so that's why it was still in the sample, but it was a little too much for him. That's fine. I trust my kids, and when they get to something that is too much, they can absolutely put it down. So that was unfortunate. So for this week, he is just kind of picking up books and reading whatever. He is rereading all of the Diary of a Wimpy Kid books. He has read them all multiple times, but he loves them, and he is actively wanting to put eyeballs onto books right now, so I will take it. He will set a timer for 15 minutes. Usually the timer is going off, and then he continues to read for a little bit until I say, no, you gotta move on to something else. I will take it. Now for read alouds for us. We finished at the beginning of the month Ancestor Approved, and so this is a compilation of stories written by different authors, all about different characters going to a powwow. And we really liked this. My son gives it another 4-star read. So again, that is great. The audio of it was really good. So this one was really good. And then our next read aloud was Walk to Moons by Sarah Creech. I have a totally beat up copy. Like, I actually put tape over some of it. I found it in a free little library and decided, you know what? It's free. I'm fine with it. Like, all the pages are in it. There are little, whoever had this before had like underlined certain things and put in little kind of notes at the end of each chapter, but that's fine. So this book was amazing. I think we both really, really loved it. He rated it a 4.9, which is really, really high praise. The audio was fantastic. So this, you're following Sal as she and her grandparents are traveling to see her mother. And there's some stories in that with what happens with her mother. But then she is also in the car ride telling a story to her grandparents about her friend Phoebe and her family experiences and everything like that. Absolutely beautiful story. We listened to it on audio and I was crying at the end. It was so good, so sweet. I highly recommend, if you're not doing Build Your Library and you're not going to be reading this, pick it up and read it to your kids anyways. So good. And then our current read that we just started this week is An Uninterrupted View of the Sky. So this is following a boy in Bolivia in 1999. His father ends up getting arrested on drug charges, even though he wasn't, but the system is so corrupt that you can't do anything about it. And basically, once you're arrested for drug charges, you will be spending the rest of your life in prison. His mother ends up abandoning them, and so he and his sister are having to live in this prison with their father, trying to figure things out. It has not been an easy book so far. This boy, he's 17, and he, before all of this was happening, was having some rough patches anyways, and this is definitely making him have to grow up and figure out some stuff, but not in a good way. So we still have quite a bit. I think we have at least 2 more weeks of it. So at the end of September, I'll let you know how it went. So now let's get into other curriculum. So language arts, it's a big one. He is doing Xander Blazer handwriting. This is level 5. It's going well. He doesn't really complain, so that is good. And then we get to our issues. If you've seen any of my videos for homeschooling before, my oldest just has a harder time with curriculum and finding stuff that works for him. So going into this year, really kind of dug deep and tried to find some things that worked. And a lot of his curriculum we got from the Critical Thinking Company. So he has sentence diagramming, which he did the previous level of this last year, and it was fine. And then Editor-in-Chief, which I figured, well, he's done Fix-It Grammar, and so this is similar to that. And then word roots, because he does need some kind of vocabulary, and I like the way that word roots does this. How are they going? Not great, but I don't know what to do about it. For right now, he is just continuing on. I haven't found anything else that works. I want him to hit all these different aspects for language arts. I think that it's important. He's not doing any other big, huge grammar program, and so this is where I need him to do it. I would say the sentence diagramming is probably going the best. Somehow that is going the best. Editor-in-chief he's really not liking. So just an example, this will be the next one that he's doing today, I think. And so you read through the paragraph and then you have things that you need to find and put over here. And he has to take it upon himself to read through the lesson. I've tried to guide him of like, you know, it's a pretty wordy lesson. So take a highlighter to it and highlight like the main thing. He obviously hasn't done that. So I'm not quite sure what to do with that. Because again, I think it's a good thing to know, to be able to go back in and find mistakes in writing, but it also throws grammar into there. And that's really like the main thing of his grammar right now. And then word roots, I think that he just gets stumbled right now with like reading all of these and then having to like put them into like a definition. And I think that he's having a hard time with that. So I told him the other day, I said, look, take a prefix, mix it with a root, and put it with a suffix. Chances are you probably know that word already. It is just taking that extra step of breaking it down so that if you come across a word that you don't know, maybe you know that prefix or that suffix or that root, and you can kind of figure out what that word means. So I think for right now, we're gonna stick with these, again, just because I don't know what else to do. If anyone has some ideas, let me know. The only thing that I have changed so far with curriculum is I have pulled him off of Writer's Workshop, which my youngest is still doing, and it was just, they were working fine together, but most of the time they were not ready to do Writer's Workshop at the same time, and so it wasn't getting done, and we were getting actually really behind in it. My oldest, you know, I just need him to write. I've kind of reached that point where I'm like, you know, you're 8th grade, you need to write a paper, and you need to do it well, and grammatically correct, everything like that. So I turned to Teachers Pay Teachers. I found one, I don't know who made it. She didn't put any of her information on it. If I find it, I will put it here. So he is creating his own theme park. And at the end of it, he will have a brochure. So this is all the information for his brochure. And he will have to write a newspaper article for it. So he's going to be able to, like, what is your theme? What are some attractions, some food? Who are you trying to get into this theme park? What is your map of your theme park? All of these amazing things. And he's having fun with it. And he's writing and being creative, which he is really creative. And so I'm hoping that this kind of inspires him to write a little bit. Along with this, I am also really kind of nailing down the writing portions for Build Your Library, where once a week, I need you to put down a paragraph about a subject, usually geography. What did you learn? And tell me about it. Right now, I'm just having him do a paragraph. I did tell him today that in the next couple months, I would like to beef it up a little bit, either really in-depth, deep paragraph, or maybe even 2 paragraphs. A subject that has been a struggle in the past is math. And I am so happy that I think we have found something. And that is Denison Pre-Algebra. Holy cow. I wish that they had had like younger levels when we were needing it. He's really, really liking it. He's thriving on it. He's getting things correct. He's grasping it. That's the biggest thing. He likes the online videos. He likes being able to check his own work. So he is, how far is he? All right, so he just finished 3-5. So it's Monday, the next day that we do school, he will be doing his review for chapter 3 and then taking the practice test and then taking the test. So this is a massive win. I am so glad to have found this curriculum. All right, this video is going to be forever, but I thought maybe every other month really get into like the nitty gritty of how things are going. I'm going to take another sip of my latte and let's talk about my 4th grader. All right, my 4th grader is chugging along. I don't think there's really any big, huge complaints. I think overall he's liking stuff. Let's talk about books first. He has quite a stack of books to talk about. So in August, he finished the 4th Zoe and Sassafras. He loves it. I think that he has one more, so we'll try to squeeze that in, or I'll just encourage him to read it on his own at bedtime. And then he read Seesaw Girl by Linda Sue Park. Again, I don't pre-read a lot of these books. I think that he liked it. I don't think it was his favorite. He didn't come to me and tell me a whole bunch about it. I take that back. I just looked and he did rate it a 5. So I guess he enjoyed it. And then Indian Shoes by Cynthia Leitich Smith. Again, he liked it. He did rate it 4.5. So there's that. He is currently reading The Whipping Boy. I think that this one is maybe more entertaining than some of the other ones, but he is liking it. So this is a good one. So those are his read alouds that he finished. He is chugging along with them and doing great. Now for our read alouds, so we have a couple different read alouds. We do the literature ones for Build Your Library, and then we have a nighttime book. And so Build Your Library, we read Mandy by, says Julie Edwards, it's Julie Andrews, Sound of Music, Mary Poppins, her. I really, really liked this book. I thought it was really cute. We were invested in the characters, and my son and I both rated it 5 stars. We are currently reading The Ghost in Tokaido Inn. It's okay. It is not my favorite so far. We are not that far into it, so we'll see how it goes. All right, and then our nighttime books. So we read The Beatrice Prophecy by Kate D. Camillo. She is absolutely one of our favorite authors, and so when I found this, I decided, yes, absolutely, we need to read this. And you're following Beatrice, who doesn't remember who she is, but she ends up in a monastery and befriends a goat that the monks all think are demons. There are other side characters that come into the play. There's a king that is listening to a bad advisor too much. So this one was so cute. I really, really enjoyed it. I think we would both rate it 5 stars. And then we decided it's time for him to listen to Harry Potter. Now, he has grown up with the story of Harry Potter his whole life. He has been around when I was reading this to his older brother. We've watched all the movies multiple times. Just about every year we watch all the movies. But he has not sat down and listened to the book before. And so it is so fun to pick this back up and read it with him and just have, like, he knows the magic behind it, but like the more detailed magic behind it, and for him to hear all of it, it's really fun. I guess I didn't hold this up in the beginning, but we are doing level 3. I have links down below for everything, and you can see flip-throughs of what we picked for this year, everything like that. Alright, now to go through the rest of his stack of things. So, language arts, we are doing sequential spelling, book 1. He is loving it. It is nothing but lists. Every single day we do a list. he really likes it. It doesn't have any extra fluff, nothing like that. Like, we sit down and read the list and come up with silly sentences for the words. But he's really liking it. And the words, I mean, they do grow on each other. So like, we just started a new kind of like set of words, and now those words are growing each day. So we are really liking that. Handwriting without tears, cursive, fantastic as always. This has always been a win. Word ladders, he is doing level 2 to 3. It is not his favorite, but that is okay, because I think that it's a really good skill to work on, of slightly changing a word and also using clues to figure out what that new word is. So he's doing that. And then he also has a couple of Critical Thinking Company books. So he is doing Editor-in-Chief. His is going a little smoother. I am encouraging him, like when we go through the lesson together, he does use the highlighter. And then I'm trying to step away as he does the lesson, really go through it a couple times. And I think that the hardest thing is, you're reading through it and you're like, yeah, it all makes sense. Well, of course it makes sense, but you need to go in and look for the mistakes. So we are working through that, and he is also doing word roots. This is going really well. I don't remember if there's a jump between, I gotta look. Okay, so he is doing beginning, which is grades 3 to 4. And then my oldest is doing level 1, 5 to 12 plus. I don't remember if there is a book in between these two levels. I feel like there's a jump between this book to this book. But overall, it's going well. The last component that we are doing with grammar, so these all tie in with that kind of stuff. But we are also doing Beowulf's grammar. Again, it's going really well. He likes the hands-on aspect of it. We are only doing it once a week just because we have so many other resources that we are using, and that's fine. He enjoys it. We're going slow. I am not expecting to finish it this year. It'll go through next year. We have made it through the first review. Let me look. They have a 33-week long schedule in here. Obviously, we're not really following it, but let's see, we have made it through week 3, day 2. So I feel like that's pretty good. I forget how far we wanted to make it. I think we wanted to get through week 17, day 1. I feel like we will be able to do that. I think I put that because it's at the end of like a review before learning new stuff. And I thought, yep, that's a good place to stop. Now, I have not been incorporating, where are they? These like weekly reviews. We just haven't had time to sit down and do them, but I'm thinking at the end of the year, if we have some time, we'll just go through those reviews, and that'll be great. All right, we're almost there. Writer's Workshop, this is going fantastic for him. Like I said, it wasn't really not working for my oldest, it just wasn't lining up. I wasn't gonna teach it twice, and that's fine. 2 kids, 2 very different needs. This is very hands-on. He is starting to have to figure out how to write paragraphs, which is good. He has been a slower writer, but we have incrementally been working towards writing a paragraph, and this week he actually wrote a paragraph. I love it. He still gets stuck with, he knows the idea, and he could probably verbally put a sentence together, but he gets held up with like then having to take that idea and put it on paper, and he has a hard time with that. So we are working through that, but this is going really well. We are only in the 2nd unit, which is sentences, paragraphs, and narrations. So I'm hoping we'll kind of catch up a little bit, but again, this is supposed to last, until he graduates. I mean, we could essentially every single year go back and pick something new from all these ideas and keep doing it. So no real time crunch on that. And then the very last thing to talk about is Math with Confidence 4th grade. It's going fantastic. We absolutely love it. He just today finished up 3.8, and so he has a couple more lessons. What does he have? He has one more lesson and then the unit wrap up. And then we'll move on to Unit 4. Absolutely fantastic. I did have somebody ask, like, for a review of how it's going. This is about as in-depth as I'm going to get. I have the initial flip through and how we're going to use it. I do include it in most of my monthly wrap-ups, and then at the end of the year I will have like a full review of how this year went. So there is that. That was a lot. All right, let me grab my coffee. So like I said, we are definitely still working through some things. Overall, though, it has been a much smoother school year than I think any other previous school year. So that is a plus. And any of the bumps that we find, I think that they are more manageable. And I think just my kids being that much older, we can kind of work through it. On that note, I'm gonna go put all this curriculum back away, finish out some schoolwork with the kids. As I'm filming, it's a Wednesday, but it's our Friday because of just some schedule stuff. And so we are ready for a long weekend. As always, thank you so much for watching. If you like this or anything else that I post here, make sure to like and subscribe down below, and I will be back for more soon.